What's going on, guys? Fun with Knives back again. Got a really exciting review for you today because this is one of my favorite knives. In fact, it's probably my favorite fixed blade to date. This is the Tops Cut 4.0, designed by Joshua Swanigan. Now, I'm not familiar with him as a designer whatsoever, but what I can tell you is that he knocked it out of the park with this one. So let's quickly go over the specs, and then I'll tell you why I think this knife is such an incredible value as well as an excellent design. We got a 4-inch blade here, obviously from Cut 4.0. Your handle length is roughly 4¼ inches, overall length of 8½ inches. It's not a huge knife, but a good medium-sized fixed blade, I'd say. Your handle thickness is 0.66 inches. Not overly thick, but definitely hand filling. And then your blade stock here, your blade thickness is 0.19 inches, I believe. Weight on this guy is 6.45 ounces. And sorry, I'm not sure if that's with or without the sheath, but I mean, it's not a crazy heavy knife, so shouldn't have to worry about that too much. Now, this design obviously is karambit inspired, but it doesn't look like any karambit I've seen, because what the designer did, Joshua Swanigan, is he took the handle from a karambit. If you just cover the blade, that looks like a traditional karambit. If you cover up the handle, you got a very utility-based blade here. Good for a lot of things. I mean, kind of a drop point, spear point affair. And it combines that pseudo pistol grip of a karambit with the ring with a very high utility blade. And holy crap, I wish somebody had thought of this sooner, because this is a phenomenal design for a fixed blade, and it really does lend itself to be good at nearly everything that I've put it through. Your blade here, 4 inches of 1095 high carbon steel with a black powder coating here, black traction coating, that's what Tops calls it. And as always, Tops knives are 100% made in the USA, and they're actually hand finished, which is really cool. If you haven't looked into their shop videos or anything, I highly suggest it. This thing has pretty much a full flat grind, but it is coming from fairly thick blade stock, so this thing is not an amazing slicer. I'll be the first one to say that. It's a little bit thick behind the edge. But this knife, I don't think is, supposed to be in the kitchen. I've used some food prep, I've done some cutting up apples and random lunch items and things like that. But I think this knife excels in some other categories, although you can do that. Now, the blade shape itself is phenomenal. It's got just enough belly. It's got just enough straight edge. It's got just enough point. I mean, there's not a whole lot of taper from the full thickness of the point, but it's strong, but yet it is pointy. You can see I've done a whole lot of stabbing here. This coating's really worn off, and I've definitely batoned with it. That's what all these streaks are coming from. You got Cut 4.0, Swanigan's logo here, and then Tops logo. But I will tell you that Tops black traction coating is actually very good. I mean, I've purposely gone out of my way to cut things and do random tasks with this knife to see if it could do it, and it has, and it's held up really well. Now, moving on to the handle here, which is kind of the cooler looking portion of this thing, we got tan canvas micarta scales. Now, I didn't know there was a distinction between any types of micarta until I had two different Tops knives, with one with a linen micarta, as seen here in this Dawn Warrior, and this canvas micarta. Now, linen micarta to me feels much softer. It's going to absorb the moisture better, as micarta is known for. This gets a little bit more sticky, and that's good for grip. But this canvas micarta feels a little bit more like G10. It's got kind of that traction to it, if you will. And then it's got their dragonfly tread, these grooves cut into it. Feels really good in hand. One criticism I have is that this handle is a little bit thin in this dimension. I don't have huge hands. I mean, I probably have large size hands, but my hand really cups around it. It's good for a hammer grip or something like that, but if you're wanting to use in more of a saber grip, I wish I had a little bit more width of handle to hold on to. That being said, it is a very well-designed handle, and yes, you can use it without the ring. It's not the most comfortable thing in the world. I mean, throwing your pinky through there isn't really a problem. Now, the ring itself is huge. I forget the diameter of this hole, but all of my fingers fit in it with no problem. My thumb will fit in it, and it fits with gloves, which is very cool to see. So if you got those karambits that the hole's too small when you have gloves, this Tops Cut 4.0 is probably not going to have that problem. Now, you can take these scales off. Got red liners in between that full tank construction. Very beefy. And of course, this ring can be used as some sort of impact tool. If you need to break something up, you can always do that. And then you got a huge finger guard here, no danger of slipping on top of that edge, and then some pretty decent jimping on top. I've gone back and forth on this jimping for quite a few months now. It's widespread, yet sharp. And it's not sharp in the sense that it's going to cut you, but it's just a little bit abrasive. If you're going to do some all-day cutting tasks, you're going to feel it in your thumb. You're going to be using it, and you're going to feel that dig into your thumb, but it's not a big deal at all. So what I think makes this knife even better than it already is this sheath. Topps Kydex sheaths are amazing. They have great fit and finish. They have great fit. I mean, you can hear that clicks right into that screw there. No rattle whatsoever. I've hung this thing vertically off a backpack strap. I've EDC'd it around town. I've worn it in the waistband, you know, on my hip. I ran it on some molly gear just on the outside of a backpack. This thing is phenomenal. It's got great retention of that blade, and it comes with these beta material loops. They're kind of leathery, kind of nylon. It's kind of a weird mixture, but they're very strong, and they come with the pull the dot snaps where you can move these in any grommet hole you want, and you can also adjust them, as you see I've done here, and they just pull off from one direction, but they cannot pull off from this direction. So no matter how hard I pull, this is not going to come off, which is very cool for running it vertically on a belt. I mean, the possibilities of attaching this to your gear, to your belt, to your system is nearly endless, and I wish a lot more fixed blades had that kind of attachment system. The sheath itself, kind of a simple fold-over taco design. Very high levels of fit finish all over this knife, though. That's one thing I will note, is that this knife costs, I bought it for $112 from GP Knives. I'm looking at Blade HQ right now, and it's costing around $130. I would highly recommend this knife at either of those price points. Anywhere, you know, below 140 bucks, this knife is phenomenal. And the reason I say that is it's got a great design. It's going to fit most people's hands very well. It can be pushed into all these rolls. The 1095 steel, I always worry about it rusting, and it hasn't even had the slightest hint of rust, even though it's been wet, moist, you know, dirty a lot of the time. Its edge retention is way past what I thought it would be, especially for a non-stainless steel that's meant to be easy to sharpen, meant to be tough and not necessarily excel in edge retention. Topps has their differential heat treat, where they heat treat the edge harder to hold that edge longer than they heat treat the rest of the blade, because the rest of the blade doesn't need to be as hard, and it really shows in these kind of knives. So, I mean, what do I think this knife is good for? Day hike blade all the way. This knife would be great for, you know, doing the picnics up in the mountains, doing those, you know, 6-8 mile hikes, you know, that you want to do on the weekend. EDC blade, absolutely. You can carry this in the waistband. Like I said, this sheath is extremely versatile, and this knife kind of pushed me into Topps fanboy territory, because their knives are so high quality, so well built, hand finished, and all made in the USA. You can see the fit and finish of those scales here. I mean, it's like a seamless design. It's insane. The way this thing is constructed, it just blows me away. And when I first saw the price point on this thing, I just thought, no way. There's no way this knife is worth over $100. And I think it's worth way more than that, to be honest, now that I've got some use with it. And I hope you guys will be excited about this model as much as I am, because I really hope Topps releases more cut 4.0 designs. Maybe even with longer blades, with different blade shapes. I mean, with different handle materials as far as my Carter or G10, you know, different colorations, you know, maybe they're different coatings, whatever they want, because I think this is a winner. So, thanks for watching, guys. As always, I think you can push this knife into so many rolls. It's one of my most carried blades, I'll be honest. Anytime I'm going outdoors, anytime I want to carry a fixed blade, and yes, this thing can, I think, be used in a tactical sort of way. That's all I'll say on that, because it is very good at penetrating. I definitely tried that, and it works very well. Either reverse grip, standard hammer grip, saber grip. This thing is just good all the way around. And yes, karambits are fun to flip around too, which is cool. But yes, guys, I highly recommend it. I'll probably put a link in the description box to GP Knives, Blade HQ, and see where you can get this thing. Maybe even Top's website so you can read a little bit more about it. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching as always, and remember, have fun with your knives.